If it's going to... Dramatic enough for everybody. Anyway, it is Monday, the day after Motocross of Nations, and there's really no more racing left. But I digress because there's the Australian stuff, there's the World Supercross stuff, there's the Paris stuff. So, man, if you never wanted to take a break, you don't have to take a break. That's your prerogative. But anyway, I have a sick panel for everyone, somebody that has won the Motocross of Nations. And here we go. Here's Zach Osborne and Coach. What's up,
I was
guys?
so hoping that you were going to slide me in before Zach and say, yeah, I won.
No, I'm assuming Coach won because I didn't.
Then
did I say win? I said participated.
Yeah, participated.
That's all right. You said win, but Zacho will take it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wish.
Zach, what year was it that you did?
He's been there twice.
17 and 19. And
correct me if I'm wrong, we were on the podium both times.
Neither time.
Jesus. Do you guys just want to run the show? Apparently, I don't know anything. Oh,
that's all right, brother. Like we were saying before we turned on, anybody that's going to run on less than 4 hours of sleep and then still be willing to put on a podcast, I'm sure the subscribers are in the chat room. They're very empathetic to what you're going through, bud.
I doubt it, actually.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Dude. Some of my Instagram comments have been hilarious. Like I've been getting some emojis of like you're gay and things like that. And so I just, I either respond with like a emoji kissy face, or I'm just like, dude, I checked your profile. I saw your wife. My wife's like way hotter than yours.
Exactly.
So, but Motocross of Nations was wild, dude. Like the last moto, there was literally a pileup that unfortunately Ken Roxon was involved in again. Like Kenny, the whole time, dude, he rode awesome in the time qualifying because he was all over Jet's ass. But I kind of feel like Jet was not racing to his full potential. He was just out there practicing, trying to just finish a 20-minute moto. But anyway, to forward to that last open moto, all these bikes come together and one of the bikes lands on a hay bale, and then the hay bale catches on fire. And then you have all the officials running around trying to get this fire out that's like in the middle of the track. So there's some pretty...
Speaking about fast paces, what do you guys think about Lucas Cohen being... I mean, he was lashed onto Jet for the entire race. Now, Zach can attest to this, without looking at his heart rate data, I don't know that Jet was... he's just managing the race, but got to give Lucas Cohen, I'm saying his last name incorrectly, but got to give him credit. I thought he looked pretty good. Yeah. Coonan brothers.
I think it was really, really good. Just to have the season that he's had, contend for a world title, and be right there to the end. I think it was really, really good. I'm interested to see what happens with him. Like, does he come to the States and stay on the 450? Does he come to the States at all? Does he go back to the 250 to come here at Supercross? It's an interesting little scenario.
Well, and if I understand his contract correctly, he's going to be able to toggle back and forth, is he not?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, from what I've heard, his contract, they're going to let him bounce back and forth so that he can, like when there's an off weekend or whatever. So to your point exactly, it'll be interesting to see when he does land here, what does he ride size-wise, and does he dip his foot into that Supercross pool?
For sure he has to, right?
Yeah, you would think so.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. Zacho, this may be a completely left field question, but because you've been in Europe, obviously both as an athlete and a racer, not only just to go to Des Nations, but going over there and racing. What do you think the salary discrepancy is between what our top guys are making and those top GP riders like a Lucas Cohen?
I don't think the salary discrepancy is that great. I know the bonus discrepancy is huge. I think at one time I was talking to a good friend who wins GPs, and I think if he went 1-1 on the weekend, it was like I want to say like 26 or 36,000 euros.
Mm,
Whereas here, a 1-1 will net you, 115 or 120 from the manufacturer, and then all the other stuff that comes with that. So I think that's where the major difference is. I think there's a lot of those like 5 to 750 jobs there, salary wise. But the
mhm.
bonuses are the big difference. I just think like the overall can make is a lot different.
Do they do bonuses per moto, or do they just do overall?
I'm not sure. The guy that I was talking to, it was like, ours is like here. Well, mine was anyways, like 10,000 a moto, and then 100,000 for the overall. So if you went,
Gotcha.
would make 120 grand, I think. But there, I think it was something like 5,000 a moto and 20,000 to win, or something along those lines. It was, yeah, like I said, a huge difference.
Wow, that's crazy.
And was that here recently, or was that
was
when you were
maybe
in the GPs?
2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So not too long ago.
Yeah. I'm sure like with every contract, it's the same here. Like it's gotten more here now. With every guy stepping up or moving over, like, when there's desire from a team, you can make a difference, and then somebody finds out about that difference, and then everybody steps up, and then, so on and so forth.
Okay. Whenever you want to race, like the purse, right? Like I think for motocross, it's something silly like grand or something, 6 to 10 grand. And then like a supercross is like 17. Was that just play money to you because the bonus from the manufacturer was really the big prize, and then the purse money from the series is just kind of like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go gamble or buy a toy? Or
No, I mean, it was normally like, oh, wow, that was more than I thought. Like you don't even really, when you're a factory level 450 guy or even 250 guy, it's not really something that you're thinking about, like scrolling the purse at the end of the day. And then I think that they come every couple races, and you're like, oh, wow, that's, $15,000. That's more than I anticipated it being. So, yeah, I don't think that anybody on a factory 450 is like, wow, I wonder how much purse money I made today.
crazy, because all the privateers, that's like all they're looking at. They're like, oh, I need to get in the top 20 because I'll make more than $500. I'll make my money back.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, how quickly is that money in your bank, both from the OEM and from the purse money? If you win on Saturday night, how quickly is that money in your bank?
Quick.
it?
Purse money, I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but bonuses. At one time we were doing like every weekend, so it was like Monday or Tuesday, and then in the end it was like once a month. So
Nice.
at the start of each month or whenever you get your paycheck or whatever.
That's so cool.
Knowing from the couple of times that I got the purse money, it was like 3 weeks, because you're like constantly like, I need it. No,
Yeah. See, I don't know that because I was never like, oh, I need it.
Just say that I sucked without saying I sucked. Thanks,
I didn't
Zach.
say that.
No,
No, I know. It's all good, man. Yeah, I'm just happy that you're on the podcast, especially when I fucked up, because apparently I texted him Wednesday and he's like, yeah. So then I'm on the plane and I'm like, hey, Zach, you down for tomorrow? And he's like, what the fuck you talking about, dude? You said Wednesday. And so I'm all like scrolling through and I'm like, fuck, I did say Wednesday.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, you got kind of lucky because I'm a little under the weather, so I didn't do my normal program today, and the wife's sick. So, yeah, it just happened to be home.
Hell yeah. Well, you're doing some mountain bike racing. So why are you, I mean, since the last time I talked to you, I've known you've always been pretty hardcore in the two wheels, because we always collaborate with the Tour de France.
Yeah.
But it seems now you're kind of getting into racing bicycles.
Yeah, I always have a little bit. Even back when I was like 15, 16, 17, I raced a little bit, just like local road scene or whatever. I'm a roadie at heart, but recently kind of gotten into the gravel scene. And then some friends and I took a trip to Bentonville, Arkansas earlier this year, did a race called Rule of Three, which is like a under biking experience. So there's road, there's gravel, and there's like some single track mountain bike stuff. So there's no perfect bike for it. So yeah, you build like this, animal weird bike and go race. And it was really a blast. So there's 2 races coming up next. This weekend called Little Sugar, it's a mountain bike race, and the following weekend called Big Sugar, it's a gravel race. And then there's like a bike festival in between. So we're going there for 10 days to hang out and ride bikes.
Hell yeah, dude. Are you still gosh, what's the company that Alden owns with the
Alcon?
bikes? Alcavi?
Yeah.
Is that the mountain bike you have, or are you
No,
using
no.
somebody's?
Currently, I use all specialized stuff.
Mm, Did you ever use when you were at the Baker's factory
No,
those
it
bikes?
wasn't a thing then. That was, I stopped at Alden's in 2021, and he hadn't started that yet. I don't think he launched it until 23 or early 24. So, I've ridden Alcovy.
Cool. Well, dude, okay. Just off topic a little bit. Did you see that Jeremy Martin and Alex Martin
Yeah,
both did their last marathon?
yeah.
And fucking Jeremy Martin was like an average 6:01 pace. And like his fastest mile was mile 26, under 6 minutes per mile. I'm like, okay, wow.
I'm not surprised. He's a freak athlete, dude. Like both of them are, especially for their height. To run that pace is insane.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
coach,
quick leg turnover.
you could say something like, I think the fuel economy, you kind of think that like, hey, if you're 6'9", you could run faster than somebody that's, I don't know, 5'5" or something. But I think you told me that the economy about it was actually better if you were shorter.
Well, what people don't realize is the leg speed comes from the knees down. And so if you guys are using Garmin at all and you do a run, scroll down into the stats in the bottom right hand corner, and it'll tell you what your cadence is. And if you look at the Olympians, if you look at the like 204, 206 marathoners, your cadence is going to be around that 180, 185 range. So, when your feet are hitting the ground that quickly, you're able to cover a great deal of distance per minute. So that's really what it boils down to when you're looking at economy. It's from the knee down, and then there's some other biomechanics, making sure your chin's over your knees over the midfoot placement of your foot. That's where the economy comes in, because as you become tired, your head goes back, and then your hips tuck underneath you. Then you start shifting from a midfoot forefront to an actual heel, and that's when you start losing your distance coverage with every stride. What's that?
So that's when injuries happen.
Yep, that's exactly it. So, what we always like to say is when you film the athletes, what we do with all of our elite runners is we look at them at mile 3, 6, and we do it in 3-mile increments. And the goal is that their body mechanics are even though they're extremely tired, they're able to hold the biomechanics all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
So
Coach,
that's how you get
I saw
consistency.
this recently on like a cycling channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to give you like an extra 1,000 watts on the bicycle and everything.
What is it?
It is an exoskeleton that is battery powered, and it just goes from the top of the knee to the chest. And if you wear it while running or something, you can carry quite a bit more weight. And the test that I saw that these guys did is some guy was he said that he was averaging 500 watts, and it felt more like 400 watts. It wasn't. It still felt really, really hard, but over the small course, he was something like 10 minutes faster, because this thing didn't give him extra 1,000-watt power, because if you could literally hold 1,000 watts up a mountain, you'd be the best rider on a bicycle ever. But he said it definitely added about like 70%.
What is the use for it? Like, when would you use it?
I have no idea. I mean,
I saw something on it as well, but it was a while ago, and I don't really remember. But I think it's some kind of stim device for like extra muscle stimulation or something. It's pretty gnarly. Looked dangerous to me.
Yeah. But you guys just got me thinking about that. Okay. Just because I like to fucking digress, and
He did it. He said it.
I said it.
If we're counting.
Yeah. But this cold and off, right? Cold and off crashing. And I know a lot of the flaggers got some slack for this, but I'll show another thing on the flaggers as well. But he goes and just tumbles.
Look how perfect he tucks, though. As soon as he goes off the bike, look how perfectly he tucks. Like, and Zach, I don't know, did you ever train tumbling for accidents?
I did, actually. After my shoulder injury, I had a lot of like issue getting my left side activated. Like, it just really wrecked this chain. And I did a bunch of rolling to get that ability back and like not have that hesitation.
Yeah.
Well,
as
you're
soon as
also
his feet,
Gumby too, though. So I feel like when you crash, you just probably bounce and it come back together.
I didn't bounce as good as some of those guys, man. Like I see Sasha Kunin, he takes some hits, dude.
yeah,
Like
it's
hits
crazy.
and just like back up. Geyser as
Yep.
well. Geyser takes some big ones, and yeah, he's fine.
Dude, I don't know where I saw it, but Ferrandez cased the big double at the finish line there at Ironman, and wadded. I mean, you didn't get the full race, the full crash, but it was pretty gnarly. So I was in the Fantic pits while the next day, right after Koldenoff was out of the Alpine Star medical unit, and he was talking to his team manager and essentially was telling his team manager that they won't release him to go racing. And then the team manager just kind of lost it a little bit, because that's it for the Netherlands, because Vlaanderen and then Kaida Wolf very fast. You're expecting Kaida Wolf to win the MX2 class, which is what he did, and then Vlaanderen to just be there, and then Koldenoff to put in a really good ride. But now, you're out a rider. So this kind of question for Zach: why is it that these teams don't come in with an alternate?
I don't know.
Why don't they bring four?
We actually had this discussion last week, like whether if Deegan decided that he was going to go there and then wasn't able to do it, like you have a backup rider, but I don't think you can use that as like once you've done free practice, I think it's over.
Yeah, I think that's a bullshit rule right there.
Let's look it up.
Yeah. Okay. So Zach is gonna look it
Well,
up
but
here.
to your point though, Johnny, I mean, look at how the outcome of this race was dramatically changed because of that. Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to say, okay, you've got a banged up rider, but then essentially all the effort to get over here is essentially done. Like when you showed that video of that team manager walking away, what'd you find, Zacho?
I'm reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had something.
Yeah, I was like, if he already found that, dude, I'm be effing amazed.
Okay, so it says yes, as a team at the Motocross of Nations can use an alternate rider to replace a member of the originally selected team. But
how late?
Let's say how late.
And that's the crazy part, when you look at the idea of you've come this far and all of a sudden that quickly the entire opportunity is just gone, slip right through your hands like sand. I just can't
I mean,
that.
these guys come from the Netherlands, right? And then to have it to where you don't have quick.
So this says you cannot use an alternate rider at the Motocross of Nations once the main event has begun. The deadline for a team to substitute an injured rider with a pre-registered alternate is after qualifying, but before the first race on Sunday.
So essentially, you'd have a backup rider that would not go out and qualify?
Not qualify or practice, and
then go race.
Whew. Basically.
Which that works to our advantage because obviously
it's better than not having a guy on the track at all, right?
Absolutely.
That's an AI answer. I'm not sure that that's correct, but
yeah. And so think about it, Johnny. Does that mean they didn't have a backup person?
Judging by the Fantic pit that I was in, no. That place looked like
I don't think anybody comes with the backup rider because
exactly.
Unless it's by chance somebody on the same team like J. Coop Deegan situation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's only 3 Fantic guys, and one of the others is Dutch Bogue. So I guess it could have worked if you choose the right guy or somebody that's not in a contract and you don't need to bring their bikes and all that stuff. It seems complicated.
Very well, complicated.
and you never got paid to go do the Motocross of Nations, right?
No, you get like a per diem. I don't remember what it was, like maybe $4,000 or something.
Do you get a win bonus at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking that's kind of the issue right there as to why bring an alternate, because you have flights, you have bikes, you have staff and everything to bring. And, that's the thing where this race is super cool, but it's almost just what's the right word, where it's an exhibition, rather than I want to say like the Olympics, because it doesn't really mean anything besides an egotistical, hey, we're the best country in the world type of a thing.
That's the same could be said for anything, but this is a big race and it ain't no exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then I'll just shut my mouth, because you've been there twice, and I'm the guy that thought you would it at least once. So
Well, what's so crazy about it is, and Zach, I don't mean for this to sting, but if you think back to when you were in college or you were in high school and then you move your way into college, right? It's like, hey, if you go pro, you can't go back.
Right.
But if you went pro, what I meant by you can't go back is you can't go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So the whole idea was stay amateur so you could do the Olympics, or forego the Olympics and go ahead and go pro and start collecting cash. Well, now you've got Olympians making more money than pros.
Right.
So if this is going to be considered our Olympics and there's zero money, and yet track and field gets paid, the basketball teams get paid to show up, on and on and on it goes, just makes you question a lot of, what's the future of this race begin to look like? I'm still amazed that in Europe, the teams show up and have no pay, zero purse. I don't even understand how that can be justified.
Well, so going back like 15 years, whenever I first started in the GPs, there was previously a federation that ran it before what is now In Front, which was then Ustream or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There was purse money and also start money and all kinds of stuff. But the way that they justified it is that they could guarantee a better TV package, which would, and then they went to the no qualifying, you paid for your spot, et cetera. So then you could sell to your sponsors like, hey, we're not, we're definitely going to be in the event. We're definitely going to get to race. There's a chance you're going to be on TV. We have these reports and all this stuff that kind of can value what's happening. And actually, I mean, the first year I was there, I got a raise, like a $40,000 raise because of this model. So I can't say, now it doesn't look great just because of the gates not being full. But otherwise, like I said, the model there is so different, and nobody here that's on that model, that sort of model, like a factory team model, is racing for prize money. Sure, it's a nice bonus, but it's not like they're like, oh man, I can't wait to get my check from the AMA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's a privateer problem, right? That's a second tier problem. So back to Zach, do you think that this should be like an every 4-year type deal to just make it more exciting? Because me saying like it's an exhibition, and like from a fan, these guys like Tomac, this was his last. I believe his contract with Yamaha is already closed, so he didn't have any contractual obligations to ride the Yamaha, but hasn't done anything with KTM yet. He's probably getting paid a shit ton to go to World Supercross. Same thing with riding KTM for Supercross next year. And then you got the Lawrence brothers that are getting paid a bunch to go to the AUS-X Open. The whole consensus is kind of don't ruin next year for a one race hero moto, So if you could explain it to me, is it something where just you flip the switch when the gate drops? You're not really worried about next year. You're just like, hey, I'm a gladiator and I'm just trying to win this freaking moto for my country, and the atmosphere pumps you up, and so like just tell me what kind of a bullshit of a view that I have saying that it's maybe not, these guys aren't trying as hard as they could be.
I think there's still like an honor and a duty to being selected for the team, especially the American team. I think it's just like we have so much country pride and so much just love for this race, in my opinion. Otherwise guys aren't taking the risk and taking the spot, I don't think, if they're not fully in it. And for me, like, I think it's the best race of the year every year, so I would be against a 4-year program or even an every other year program. But like I don't know, I don't think that's the way. I like the way it is.
Okay.
Hey Johnny, you mentioned something, and Zach, you can attest to this. Aren't all contracts up October 1st?
Not all, no.
Okay. Because I thought it was interesting. Like we've seen 0 team announcements, and today's October 6th at the time of this recording, right? And it's just very interesting. I don't know if it's because designations, and there's a lot of moving around this year, with Tomac going over to KTM, Chase going over to Cowie. And it's just very interesting. Like we've not seen one re-signing press release.
Yeah. A couple departures, but no re-signings.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I asked Tomac on at the press conference, like what does this mean to you being the last race that you're going to do on a Yamaha? And he kind of looked around at his people like, should I answer this? And he paused real big and he's like, this race kind of means a lot, and I'd like to do it again. But he kind of like did the Donald Trump around my question here.
Well, to Zach's point, though, I thought it was pretty cool when at the last SMX round, and he was like, our designation's in trouble after today's race, right? He's like, this race was horrible for Designation's team with Sexton getting beat up and then Deegan going out. And he's like, I love the question. It was like, well, who do you think should be on? He goes, whoever wants to be on. To Zach's point, exactly. If it's not an honor thing and you're not willing to put 100% in, and obviously Tomac's been there so many times, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he was all in, and once you get selected, you start to like talk to those guys, even though you probably didn't before. Or, there's some camaraderie that goes with it. So for him, I'm sure he was like watching the race, like, or at the end of the race, especially Deegan was already out, and then he sees Chase laying there. He's like, it definitely went through his mind at some point during the race, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, then, Zach, maybe if I'm putting you on the spot, dude, do you think that the pride for this race has kind of changed? Because it didn't seem like Sexton or Deegan in the past were super stoked to be part of the team, and maybe that's just from the outside looking in. But
I think it's more of a thing when it's here. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more familiar. There's not so many variables. I think that there's a lot of people with their hand up when it's here. But when it's away, it's a different bear. It's, you got to try to go there and prepare. You got to hope your bike's good. There's a lot of more moving pieces to it. So, for me, I think that's a little bit of a skewed view just because of where it was this year.
Okay.
Hey, Johnny, I know you were walking in the pit trying to get back to the award ceremony, but when you get a moment, look at Tomac's disappointment when he walks out. He looked irate.
Yeah.
And when they came over and shook his hands, I thought he was going to punch Jet right in the face. Like he gave the softest handshake. Now, Hunter, he got a real firm handshake, but when Jet came over, Tomac could all but barely look at him. To Zach's point, that's how disappointed he was. That's how important this race was to him. He was
he was literally Captain America for sure. You know,
he was livid though, Johnny. Like he came out, there was not one smile on his face the whole time on that podium.
Well, like even Justin Cooper on the podium, one of the MXGP press guys asked him as far as like, what did it mean to fill in for Deegan? And he had like a big, like, it's hard with 33 races to then go do one more, so that's where I kind of see the view where their guys are already ready for a break. And then here's one more to add on to stuff. And Justin Cooper rode his ass off, dude, on Deegan's bike. He was really the only guy to get a good start from the outside. And it was awesome to hear all the US fans. And every time, no matter if they were in 15th or what, just the fans were just going off for Cooper and RJ.
Well, look at the 250s performances across the board. If you think about it, right? You have Jay Coop, who did a great job, but then you look at the other 250 riders as well. And, you got to throw it up to the Aussies. I mean, he was down in the first turn in both races, got his butt up and rode like he stole it. So I thought some of the best performances came out of the 250.
Yeah.
Johnny, the videos you got of Jet, like facing some of the jumps and going over things, that's just next level cool. I mean, that was just, and then why, Johnny, you were there, and Zach, obviously you being one of the best, Why do you think only Jet and Hunter were doubling into that corner, into that right-hander?
I don't know. It looks like rather simple on TV. Obviously, it's not.
Sure,
Those are
sure.
the best dudes in the world, and they weren't doing it. But I don't know. They were doing it at the national as well. Jet was, at least. I'm not sure about Hunter, but
Yeah.
I remember Jet doing it at the national.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it looks pretty not that hard, but like of course it is. It's
Okay,
Sure.
we'll look at it, but I had a question as far as like why guys were taping the axle blocks, and what I actually found out was it just so that they didn't get dirt in the axles, so that when they came back from their sight lap, they could switch the wheel real quick.
Right.
So that was the answer that I was oblivious to. But where was?
And to your point, though, Zacho, I mean, we know it's harder than heck, you know, but those guys made it look like just butter, especially Jet.
Yeah.
He just drops into that right-hander like his wheels are glued in there. It just was, and I just saw that as a line. Like, you know, it has to be hard if nobody else is trying to emulate it. You know?
So Tomac, I saw him do it a couple times, but he was trying to like make that rut, and the time that I caught him, he blew over it and he killed the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a matter of like, even though he did it, it ended up being slower, where Jet was just able to consistently be able to land. And I saw him multiple laps land in that rut. And because he landed sideways, have his foot pegs fold and have his feet come off the pegs. But he didn't care. He just kept jumping it.
It's definitely a techie little deal, but like I thought more than just him and Hunter would be doing it.
Yeah.
Especially when he popped it in practice. And I was like, okay, we'll definitely see a couple of guys try to do that on Sunday, but didn't see it. And I was like, wow, that must be really technically tough.
One thing that I feel like doesn't get enough attention is, you know, it's all good and fine that Jet does all this stuff, but he does it all really consistently, and it's all really freaking hard. Like there's another video that Johnny posted, I think, where he's like, after the start, he like doubles down and then like jumps onto that next thing and then off the next roller. And it's like, yeah, that's incredible. But what's more incredible is that he does it 15 laps in a row, has the leg strength to continually do it, continually, you know, it's not easy at all. Like, it's the most advanced skills in the world, and he just does it every lap.
Yeah, this was the craziest.
But that load right there, that G load right there is insane.
Huge.
Dude, there's literally no lip, and he's literally like bunny hopping 20 feet across the track onto a lip that has literally 12-inch deep ruts in it, and he's getting up and over it. It was insane. Absolutely.
And like I said, it's not only way faster, but it's way harder. Like, you can go down in those holes and not have nearly as much load, and, you know, just spikes the heart rate and all that. But he does it no problem. Like, there's something to be said for how actually fit he is as well.
And the other thing that blows my mind is the balance, because then he cases off the top of it on purpose and then doesn't nose pick it on the backside of it. You're like, oh,
that's like a 3-inch do or die death mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The margin of error is so minute. Yeah.
Well, because then the European guys, Geiger and Renault, they were doing this where they were jumping and doubling down in there. And that was actually a massive blind double as well, landing into these, again, 12-inch deep ruts. But I didn't see any American guys do this. They were opting to scrub and then kind of fall into that G and go over it. So I only saw Geiger and Renault actually jump this. So I don't really know what's faster. I'd have to time it. But I want to say Jets was the fastest for sure. The land and then just bunny hop. And that's why I feel like their suspension is fairly soft to where it's able to have like a good preload like that. Like, all year long, their suspension has looked very.
I think the bike's
soft.
incredibly torquey, and I think that I think the bike's stiffer than you think, but they use the torque and the chain tension more than you know.
Because they're always down in those low RPMs for that torque and that low end.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny, there was a lot of discussion about, they brought in some different types of material, because they were saying that the track was nothing like what it was during the National, that it became very hard packed. What did you see in regards to what they brought in? And Zach, as you as a rider, Did you think it looked like it would be more enjoyable to ride when you were there, or less enjoyable than when you were there?
I love that track. I like the old configuration, like the 2016, 14, 15 configuration
The
way better.
giant jump up
Big
the
ol'
Yeah,
hill
I
and then
think
the
that's
giant
Iron Man to me.
tabletop
But
down.
being that it's later in the fall, I know this just from the GNCC scene, like it's been very, very dry there. So I think it had more promise to be a little harder. And I think that that's mainly why the conditions were a little different. And we experienced that. I don't think we raced it in October in 2020, but it was like early September, and it was very similar, like harder than what it is normally.
What I saw is they didn't rip it near like they did for the national. Usually, Zach, for you guys, the track is just a mud bog
Yeah.
for your timed qualifying, because you guys get like 5 minutes free and then 15 or 10 timed, and then it's just straight into the moto. Here it looked like they watered it, but it was tilled almost like you would see on like a local race. And so it was harder to develop a bunch of ruts and bumps, which honestly I thought was more conducive to better racing because of the amount of time that they put on the track. Because they had 3 hours of free practice on Saturday, and then they did their motos after that. So then there was another 2 hours on the track, and then on Sunday, then you have like a 20-minute warm up, and then you have the 2 30-minute motos for each class, which that is so much time for these riders.
Plus the 125, 65, 85 thing, like
Yeah.
it doesn't make it that much rougher, but it definitely makes a difference. I mean, I think that we could get by with some less ruddy conditions here in the States to start with, but you don't take into consideration like all the riding that doesn't happen at a national compared to a GP or compared to, designations. And like, I just feel like our best shot at good racing is rutted tracks. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but there's nothing worse for me than watching like I don't remember what year it was, Hangtown 23, I think, where it was just like follow the leader, no ruts, no bumps.
A speedway.
And I'm all for being able to move around, and I think that this weekend's track was pretty awesome, but I don't think that we can do that in America with one-day nationals. And I think also the way that they've straightened the tracks out here, like if you go back and look at like old High Point compared to now, old Colorado compared to now, those tracks were so much more windy. The speeds were so much more low. The braking zones were heavier, and they got rougher. But now, without ripping them, you just have highways. There's, Colorado is straight down the hill, straight up the hill, straight down the hill, 90-degree corners. It's not conducive to good rough tracks. And in my opinion, anybody can go wide open. It's when it gets techie is when you see the difference.
It's easy to just have the balls to go fast when there's no bumps, but then you have to have bigger balls to go fast when there is bumps. That's why, like, again, this is like sorry, there's too many things on the screen. This shit is spectacular because other guys, I don't think everybody would do it, but I think other guys would potentially try this if there was no ruts in the way. But doing this while there's, again, 12-inch ruts, 5 across, that's what makes this stuff so freaking spectacular.
Yeah, but what adds another dynamic is it's both on the front and the backside, to Zacho's point, right?
Oh,
you're threading the needle through it, coming up to it, and then when you go off of it, you got to land it in one. You're like, goodness gracious, that's just insane, next level.
Yeah.
Who was the standout performer of the weekend for you guys?
Tomac.
Yeah.
Tomac and Hunter. I think Hunter, dude, I really wanted, I was going to be happy if the US got on the podium, because I do think that Sexton and Deegan, we would have had a shot to win with Tomac, and with RJ and J Coop, I felt it would be a pleasure to see a podium. Like that was a win for me there. I thought Team Australia was going to be very difficult to beat because, especially in that last open moto with the both 450s, you've got like a 1-3 type of a guy of a team. And that's, exactly what they did. They went 1-3. And so Tomac, I believe there was a lot of pressure on him to try to pull his team forward. And he kind of, I don't want to say shit the bed that first moto with getting such a bad start, but he had to pull everything into that last moto, and he did just that when the track was the roughest. And I saw him, dude, it was beast mode. That dude was damn near elbow down, and even with the sound changes with the FIM, his bike was by far the loudest.
Yeah. What about you, Rob?
Okay, go Rob.
No, go Johnny. Finish your thought.
No. I was gonna say I wanted to hear what Zach said.
I think so. Hunter was really good. I think Hunter's kind of coming into his own. I think he's going to have something for Jet like over a series next year in one of the series. Standout ride for me was Jan Panzer, dude. Like, he's such a beast on a completely privateer family bike, Slovenian. For Slovenia to get, I think, 5th overall in the end was an incredible result. And in the second moto, I think it was, he was just like right there in 3rd forever. RJ passed him. He stayed, steadfast and strong.
He brake checked RJ.
I don't know. I think RJ just got it wrong. I thought that when I watched originally, but I saw a video from pit lane and RJ doesn't touch him.
Okay, here, let me see, because I'm going to bring up the video. But that guy needs a factory ride. This has been a couple times when he's had a standout podium finish, and
no, that's not the one you need.
Oh,
yeah, there's one straight down on it when Panzer's coming in, and then he just runs right into the back of him.
Does it look
already like sideways when he gets there? I don't understand it really. Trust me, I'm an RJ guy. Like, I'm the RJ train conductor. Like, I was like, dang, he got him good. But when I watched the overhead view, I don't think he did.
Okay.
It looked like there was a little bit of a hesitation. Like, if you watch Panzer's rear wheel, it doesn't look like he locks it up, but it looks like there's a little bit of a hesitation. Now, if you look at the rut that he was trying to get into, and then you can see RJ's kind of in the way, you can't really see if Panzer was like still trying to get into the rut when he went to accelerate. But
I think he did. I think he did hold up a little bit, but I don't think that's what caused it.
It wasn't quite, if you're comparing it to the Deegan SMX final brake check and this. No, but yeah, he definitely looked over and
he kind of hesitates just
down
a little bit.
No doubt he hesitated and hit the brakes, but I don't think that's what caused it.
Well, and then, of course, it's easy to be a Monday morning armchair quarterback, but like, I'm surprised he tried to go to the inside. I would have thought he would have, because you saw Tomac every time he came into that corner, he purposely shifted to the outside and then dove inside, just trying to do everything he could to stay out of everybody's main line. But
I don't have the video on my Instagram, but they changed that corner from practice to the races to where they cut out feet of that corner. So there really was no outside. So there was probably only 2 different ruts, but he did choose to follow. But yeah, no, that guy's been traveling with just his dad and his team to all the MXGPs. I don't know how they afford to go to all those races, but wild how talented he is and how he hasn't been picked up by anyone. Oh, on that small note, Koldenoff, as I was getting kicked out of the Kawasaki rig, because I tried going around all of them to see the pictures of the GP bikes, the GP guys for HRC Honda, they had prototype bikes, in which I'm assuming they were the 2026s. So they wouldn't let me look at the bikes at all. But in the Cowie rig for Team France, Koldenoff was talking to the Kawasaki team manager for an extended period of time. And I'm like, you're Team Fantic, and now you're talking to the team manager at Kawasaki for a long time. Like, I know he said he wants to come over to the States. I don't know, not to make any conspiracies here, but it sounds interesting that he may be on a Cowie in the future.
I think Cowie is going to be reluctant to try that again. Personally, with an old guy, he's the same age as me, 35 or 36. Like, he's
Koldenoff is?
Yeah.
But dude, everyone here is older. All the fast guys now are older. You know, like it's different. The years of retiring at 26.
But I think starting Supercross at that age is not realistic.
Agreed. Okay, because I asked Febra after his second world title at the press conference, like, what would it take for you to come over here to America? And he was like, basically, no money would bring me to try Supercross. So, yeah,
Yeah, but you got to
you're
understand, a guy like him is probably making 3 to 5 million euros a year. He's comfortable. He has, races 20 times a year, has a good life, goes on a couple vacations a year. You want him to trade that for the unknown and move to a different world and
No
do
money.
all that? No shot.
Do you think the MXGP guys have it easier, Zach?
I don't know if it's easier. It's definitely a little less of a grind, I think, just with some of the breaks and gaps they have. And, some of the travels are big, but also you're typically not riding during those weeks. So it's a little bit more time.
It's every 2 weeks, though, too.
What do you mean?
Isn't it every 2 weeks that they'll have the race during the season?
No, they have back-to-back 3 on the trot every now and then.
Okay. I guess this was leading to like Prado. Do you think, he was just a little bit soft over here?
Dude, I have no idea what happened there. Really no clue. Like, I don't know how it can go so bad.
Because he basically fired Kawasaki, and then you had Anderson, who got fired from Kawasaki, actually post, no, they gave me the really fast Kawasaki. His contract was just up?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so maybe I'm speaking out of context here.
They just didn't renew him.
They just didn't renew him, which I think they should have renewed him.
I think there was option for renewal.
And so Anderson didn't want to leverage that option?
I'm not sure. I really have no idea. I think he's ready to be Supercross only would be my take.
All right, well,
we never heard the right team for that.
We never heard, Coach, your take on
stand-up. To me, the Coonan brothers were unbelievable. I was amazed. Sasha wrecking, nobody's surprised by that. Zach, you referred to that earlier. It's either, what do they call it? Checkers or wreckers, for Sasha. So there's nothing new there. But when he was up, he was the top guy battling, not with anybody new. I mean, he's battling with DeWolf and those guys. But to see Lucas right there on the rear wheel of Jet, and like we were saying earlier, I do firmly believe that Jet's just managing the race. I don't think he was worried about it, but Lucas put a good gap on everybody else behind us. We talked a little bit about the idea that Tomac couldn't get around Geyser, but I thought it would have been interesting if Tomac got around him, Lucas being able to handle with Jet in front of him and Tomac behind him, because he's familiar with with Geyser. But I'd be curious to see. But I thought he handled the pressure unbelievably well.
He did. And, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, but without
ifs and buts were candies and nuts. I've never heard that.
Really?
Never.
Without Sasha's little last lap incident in the first moto and then Lucas crashing out in the last one, like, they would have been probably not in contention to win, but they would have definitely been in that podium mix, which was good. I think Liam was really good for his first, big world stage outing on a 450. I thought he was pretty solid.
Yeah, and you can't forget Shimoda in his showing on a 450 on that platform was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Speaking of that wreck,
he was running hand guards, which he was
in
Supercross hated hand guards. Man.
Well, he's grown to like them. In that right hand turn where Jay Coop and him got Coonan, Sasha got tied up. Do we ever get clarity as to what happened in that corner? We only saw that little brief snippet.
I didn't. I was wondering the same thing because his bike never started again after that. So I don't know if it quit and Jay Coop ran over him or like. Yeah,
I'm hoping somebody will ask Jay Coop that question, or if you could text him, Zach, if you've got that. I just would be curious. Yeah, I would just be curious to see, because like you said, I mean, that turned the entire overall on its head immediately.
Yeah.
Especially being that late into the weekend, with getting hurt in practice, that always sucks. But then to be that deep into the race and then have something like that, I was like, oh gosh, worst possible scenario.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Kind of closing up a little bit. I asked HRC Honda what changes they made for the MX of Nations, for like the works rules, or at least the GP rules, and if the bikes were any faster. But I want to ask Zach, since you've been on teams where you're going over there with the rules changes, what kind of changes did they make for your motorcycle versus the AMA motocross bike?
So in 17, I rode just my straight AMA bike, just as it was. And then in 19, we had the option to ride 3 different frames. One that was 4 millimeters stretched, one that was 7 millimeters stretched, and then they had a special frame that they used for Jassiconis that was 10 millimeters stretched. So we were able to try all those, and Jason and I both ended up on our American bikes. Like the other bikes were just really, really different, and we didn't feel like we had time. Like if we had a couple months to get used to them, that'd be one thing. But 3 weeks just wasn't enough time to find the ground with it.
Okay, because
So to answer your question, both times I was on my just straight AMA bike.
Interesting. Because asking the mechanics from Jet and Hunter, they said that they were on their same moto frames. They just honestly, they said that the bikes were slower because they had to have an extended, because of the new sound regulations. Their silencers were had to be 4 inches bigger, almost like a Woods silencer is almost what they had to use. And then they said that the fuel was like this milky blue shit that really was down on power. So the whole ECU was basically remapped, and that was pretty much different. And then they just had to have chain guards, where they didn't really have to have as many before, but because of their rules, they had to have all these added mumbo jumbos. But it was interesting to hear that they were on the same frames and that they thought
it's not easy to a frame change for a factory level guy is not an easy thing. That's a massive thing. That's not like hey, this is better, try it. It's
in 3 days, to try to get used to.
Yeah, it's not even thought in my mind.
Yeah. What's the old saying? When you have a race bike and a practice bike, sometimes your practice bike feels better because it's all broken in and plush, versus maybe you never had that because your shit was always probably identical, and the race bike was the practice bike, so it was easy to transition. But when I was racing, the privateer effort was, sometimes I felt more comfortable on my practice bike just because it had 200 hours on it, and the race bike was all rigid and stiff, but it was supposedly the same deal. So a way of changing it was just I take the seat from the practice bike to put the squishy ass seat onto the race bike, and it felt a little bit better, right? But second tier problem again.
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I really liked the feel of the stiff bike. So I was kind of indifferent about my practice bike. Definitely when it got 20 hours on it, 30 hours on it, then we would start to change frames and stuff like that, just because it was so different. But yeah, I really enjoyed the brand new bike, full stiff.
Okay, guys, I have an ignorant question for you. Why does it matter how loud the bikes are? Why are we screwing with sound?
I don't know.
Because I've asked this Supercross, right? Usually the week before or the week after a Supercross race, we have monster trucks. They're running straight headers. It's not a sound environmental thing. It can't be. Why are we screwing around with sound? Maybe somebody in the chat room can educate me, because
Coach,
stupid.
Being on the starting line around the first corner with 40 bikes was not near as loud as walking around the track every time Tomac or somebody, with all the air horns and everything. It was way louder from the fans to there. And honestly, there was some motorcycles, I asked Team Australia on the podium about the sound requirements. And they said, dude, we kind of think a couple teams weren't following the rules because their bikes were way louder than ours. And whenever you saw, what was it? It wasn't Belgium. Honestly, some of the Netherlands guys with the Fantic bikes, those bikes were so loud.
Yeah, I just don't quite understand the importance of it. Like you're saying, especially when it's robbing power, it's what direction are we trying to go?
Yeah.
Like Zach said, if we're trying to slow the race down, just design the track so it's going to be a slower race. And I so agree with Zach in that regards. I wish we brought back more of the finesse and the very minute details of being able to decelerate, accelerate, decelerate, not just, be a throttle jockey and just hold on, and whoever's got the biggest set of balls wins. I mean, there's always a mixture of that, but we've lost some of that finesse and that deceleration, reacceleration, rebalance, redirect. I think it's so desperately needed.
Guys, what I found, what was interesting, it was not like everyone was running the scoop. Like literally everyone, it was either a Pirelli or it was a Dunlop. But what was interesting was the Netherlands, they all had 250 tires on their 450s with the scoop. They were all 110s as opposed to the 120s, where the American riders were running 120s. I wasn't able to really get behind the gate to really see a lot because the rule restrictions are different there. But I found that I asked them, I'm like, hey, is this just because you're here in America or what? And they said they only ran the 120 Pirellis when it was super, super muddy. But they said that the bikes would fit better in the ruts and they just had better feel with the 110s. And that reminded me of Justin Hill because he runs a 110 scoop in Supercross and he's the only 450 guy on his KTM, even though it's a privateer backed KTM. I think they get parts from factory KTM. Just that was his same thing, is like it fits better in the whoops on the ruts, and I'll run it every day, all day. So it was kind of your guys' opinion on that, because
it's more common in Supercross. I think like a lot of guys used to run 110. Marv used to do it all the time when it was really ruddy. Justin Brayton, big 110 guy. I hated it. I think it just lights up and makes the bike feel super funky. But there's a lot of factors to that, like swing arm length, what the guy's looking for. Definitely it fits in the ruts better always. It's not as grabby on the sidewall. So yeah, I mean, saying 250, 450 tire, sure, but like there's a lot. You can change so much with just a tire, roll out. There's so many different things that are at play there.
Okay. And maybe the last thing was talking with the HRC guys was, okay, where was they always wanted to keep, their bikes were tested for a certain swing arm length. And so if they, for some reason, had to put a bigger sprocket on or something, they changed the internal gearing, which makes sense. But they were just trying to make sure that the axle blocks were like always on that third tick. So the swing arm was that length all the time. Was that something that you guys just had a set length that you ran all year long?
Yep.
Zach?
Yep. We always ran, like at Husky, the sweet spot was like 602 with the new chain up to 610, 610 millimeters from center axle to center axle. So swing arm pivot to rear axle. And we didn't really deviate from that. And I think we could do like 1448 or 1452 was where that was at. So like I said, there's a lot in, I'm not like laughing at you, but sometimes when you're doing gearing videos, I'm like, that makes about as much care as whether the sky's blue or green. Like,
dude,
I know that they're good for views and whatnot, but like there's so many factors to what tire a guy's running or what gearing he's on, or what primary they're running. That's the stuff you don't know, right? Like at Husky, we didn't have primaries. We only had one primary, and that was kind of what you had to work around.
Yeah. And when I asked, they won't give me gear ratios, but like just for the general population, it's the same thing. They want the Alpine Star gear. Yeah. Little do they know that like the gear that they have is a different material. It's pre-fitted to the rider. It just looks the same. And same thing with like somebody like me, Joe Schmo. I'm not going to be able to go down to my bike shop and say, hey, I want the Spec A, MX32. They're going to be like, well, you can't have it. Here's the production one, so it looks the same, but for some reason, dude, the gearing videos, they just kind of work because everyone wants to. That's the reason, that's the reason why, I want a Honda, is because of Jet and them. Little do I know that it's going to be nowhere near the actual Honda, but I can go out there. Like I said, I was racing my ass off to the airport yesterday in my minivan, thinking that I was Team Australia, just kicking everyone's ass, so Zach, for us peons that were never at your level, just let us dream.
Okay.
Just let us dream.
That's why I've never commented this is absolutely irrelevant, but
No, that's a true man right there. He's
Yeah.
going to save you the public embarrassment. He just waited
Well,
till you
now-
were on a live podcast.
Yeah, just wait till they finally let me into the MotoGP pits, you know,
Yeah.
and how I'm gonna piss off all
No,
the riders.
seriously though, like they're like, you know, it, like I said, saying 250 tire, 450 tire, you don't really know even what those labels are, if they're real, if they're right. If it's, you know, maybe.
See, but isn't that's misrepresentation?
But maybe like you measure some tires that are 110s and they're actually 114. So then that's an in-between tire, you know. Maybe the Pirelli scoop is something different. Maybe the Dunlop scoop is something different. The Bridgestone scoop, they only make a 110, you know. So like there's different factors.
So what you're telling me is the next time I'm entering a race, I'm gonna enter the 250F class, and I'm just gonna take my 450 and I'm just gonna put the 250 sticker on.
I didn't
You know,
say that.
so that I mean that's kind of what you're inferring, right?
No.
So that's what I'm
That
hearing.
is a stretch. That is a reach.
And then until everyone's like, why does that bike sound so throaty? And it's like, dude, because I'm only, how many kilos would I be? Like 70 kilos. You know, it's just the bike's fast because I'm small. You know,
It's fresh. It's fresh silencer packing. It's really quiet.
Yeah,
It's got a little bit deeper sound. It's all fresh.
Yeah.
Did you go ahead, Johnny?
You're not trying if you're not cheating, dude. Right? I know when I was racing some of the GNCCs and you know even the local ones, I would get protested all the time because it was like, here's a corner marker, but this is a straight line. So is there anyone around? No, let's go this way. So yeah.
Speaking of that, did you were you out there for the 125 or even the 85? Were you out there for those Yamaha invitationals?
Dude, honestly, after the flight, I don't know if I'm getting old, but I was up all night editing videos, and so I woke up and I felt awful, and I'm like, dude, I need to, you know, that's what's kind of cool is when I go to the races for me, it's not like I have to be there at 7 a.m. So yeah. I honestly, I showed up at 11 on the race day because I was like, dude, I need to, I brought my running shoes because I wanted to run 10 miles. And then, you know, I looked at my average heart rate and then, and I got 5 hours of sleep and I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it through the day if I do this. So I was bummed about it because I wanted to be there for that. But
yeah, if you get a chance, go to the Yamaha official channel and watch the 85 class. It's when you talk about the stickers don't represent what's underneath the hood, you'll see a pretty good indication of there's definitely some. I even was texting some of my people and I was like, "Are you allowed to claim a bike at this invitational race? Because this is pretty bad." And then Tanner Dorman was leading the 85 class and just got completely taken out, like lame opening lap, like not even rubbing elbows, just completely parked him. And then they both got up. The guy that took him out, I can't remember what his last name is. He got back up and then him and Dan are like 12th and 13th. And the kid does the same thing, almost at the exact same part of the track, just almost saws off his front wheel. And I'm like, so I texted some of the people in the amateur scene. I'm like, is this dude always this dirty? It's like, holy smokes. It was blatantly like so stupid. But at any rate, yeah, if you want to see who's running some cheater bikes, watch the 85 and the 125 class. It was on the start. I mean, you know, most of those bikes, if they're bone stock, are going to be comparable.
Yeah.
You're talking one or two bikes are like 2 bike links in front of everybody else. And you're like, yeah.
There's some pretty big kids there too that look like they should have been on like 125s and they were on 65s.
Go look at the 125 winner. It was his first time on a 125. He rides with JP Money at Next Level. And he's on the podium. And the second place dude is as tall as him. And he's on the second. The little guy, I mean, no disrespect to the guy who won. He rode his tail end off. But my goodness, was he small. The guy on both sides of him, they were towering as high as he was. And they were, you know, not on the podium. It was unbelievable. But great races. And I have to throw a shout out to my rider, Luca Medica. We got a 5th place start. We were running 9th, and then we just nose picked it and got ourselves. I think we got up like in 25th or something, and we came back to 15th. So he had a heck of a race. So
but what a monopoly for Yamaha to have 65s, 85s, and 125s. Still,
that's expensive.
Oh yeah,
that's expensive.
I think that's what they should do here in America.
Juniors at Supercross. Yeah, I mean, you know,
fair point.
Yeah. The thing that I think is so funny is when we allow these 85 riders to race Supercross, but then they won't let somebody who is a B, I don't have a pro card, so I can't ride at a pro Supercross track. But if I get invited to a Supercross race on a 125, I'm allowed to race the track that a top guy can't race because he doesn't have a pro card. It's kind of crazy to me.
Little funky.
Yeah, it's a little bit upside down and backwards in that regards. And I just think it's crazy. Like when those kids on 85s got disqualified for jumping the finish line double, one of my riders, Aiden Steinbrecher, a couple of years ago, he was one of only two guys, him and Henson. They were the only guys that were hitting the finish line double. But I don't know. You say it's too sophisticated for anybody who doesn't have a pro card, but then you let the 85s and 125s go full send.
Well, that's why they're kind of being more careful with that. Talking with MX Sports and Feld, they were like, okay, we need to learn from this because this could be real bad real fast if something happens.
But it is better than watching somebody run down a starting block, put their head on a baseball bat, do 10 circles and run back. I mean, it's a better halftime show. I will say that,
For sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know the go around or have one of the skid steer come in there real quick and I don't know. But that's maybe a longer topic for another show because we're right at that hour mark. And Zacho, want to let you go because, you're probably trying to recover for this race. How long is this race this weekend?
It's only 50 Ks. Mountain bike race, 50 Ks.
That's a pretty long mountain bike race, though, 50 Ks.
What kind of elevation do you have, Zacho?
3,300, I think.
That's where it gets hard. Yeah. That's real man's race right there.
I'm going to ride. I'm going to the race to ride.
Johnny, just to put it in perspective, Nice had 8,000 feet at the Ironman Worlds. He's going to doing 3,000 off-road, pushing that 3.1. What size tire are you going to run since it's a hybrid bike? Is it a 3.125?
No, this is straight mountain bike, so it's 2.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
At the Ironman Worlds with those guys, the winner doing like a 2:29 marathon was just, everyone seems to be juicing. And then literally now it's everywhere that people are running like 160 plus carbs an hour.
Dude,
which,
how
many
you got
carbs?
to go ahead.
Like coach for my half Ironman, I was doing 100 carbs an hour and I felt great pretty much the whole time until I literally didn't. But
well, that's the $1 million practice. I mean, that's the $1 million point. It's all good until it's not. Once a GI track backs up or shuts down, that's when you're on struggle bus.
Dude, after the race was rough.
Well, and don't forget, we have the women this weekend in Hawaii. So, which, by the way, Johnny, if you and Paige want to go, Michaela and I already we already have our accommodations for next year when they bring the men and the women back to Hawaii. We're staying right on the Queen K. So
cool. It seems so hot there all the time.
If you want to go, we have quite a few riders that qualify, or racers that qualify every year. So this year we're going to go back, especially with them bringing both the men and the women back. It's a little bit hard to go to both Nice and Hawaii because they broke up the men and the women is what they did, Zach. They broke it up.
Gotcha.
So,
how many carbs are you going to run this for a 30 mile? What do you think how long that's going to take you? Like, what's the goal there?
I would like to be right around 2 hours. 220 maybe.
That's hauling the mail. That's hauling the mail at 3,000 feet of climbing. That's good.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know how it's gonna go. I'll shoot for like 80. I don't do much more than 80. I'm not really a huge carb burner. I'm kind of a middle of the road guy. So more just making sure that I'm fueled up before. And yeah, it like once you get like past 2.5, then I feel like it gets a lot more finicky. But yeah, for this weekend, I think 80 is fine.
Just lost my train of thought. What I thought was interesting at the last race, the SMX final, I saw Hunter taking a couple gels right before the start, which was something that I haven't really seen before, like minutes before the gate drop. Which
I always did a gel before the second moto outdoors, and then they're handy for triple crowns, like where you need some carbs, but you don't really want to eat because you don't have time to like get your heart rate down enough to really eat. So they're pretty handy for that.
Yeah, because that's one thing that I never did in between motos or anything was take that stuff until, like Coach, that's why like I wish I made these connections with you guys before then. But anyway, I'm digressing. Thank you for watching the MX of Nations podcast.
You just turned your microphone off, buddy. We just lost you.
Yep, it's this red button.
There you go.
Hey, did I tell you it's Wednesday? Be back
Hey,
here
but
Wednesday.
we know Wednesday is going to be a good day for you. So Zach and I will be we'll be smiling for you, brother. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Zach. Say it again.
I said we'll leave him alone on Wednesday.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to text him every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, dude. Hey.
What are you doing?
How you
How's it
doing?
going, man?
I'm turning my phone off.
Hey, what running shoes you going to run in today? How many calories you taking in?
The big ones, the big fat.
What Zipf ride are you on
ones.
this ride today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Hit the subscribe button because you want to. You just didn't think you needed to, but I'm telling you, you want to and need to. So do that right now.
Zacho, it's always good to have you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed it.
and good luck this weekend, homie.